A West Fargo police officer arrested for DUI.
NDSU dietary students reopen the 800 Cafe.
And an NDSU student joins the Google Cloud Academic All-District team.
You're watching Bison Information Network News. Good evening. A West Fargo police officer was arrested for driving under the influence on Sunday night. West Fargo police officers received a report for a reckless driver, and while driving to the area, officers learned that the vehicle had gotten stuck in a snowbank. At the scene, officers identified the driver as West Fargo Patrol Sergeant Ryan Dennis. Dennis was arrested on suspicion of DUI and has been assigned to desk duty while internal and criminal investigation is conducted.
The NDSU Career Center is collaborating with the Office of Institutional Research and Analysis to release the 2018 Career Outcomes Report. The document includes information from the First Destination Survey that is published annually. The report contains data on employment rates, continuing education enrollment rates, and starting salaries of NDSU graduates 6 months after graduation. Other data included in the document are post-graduation data and recent graduate data points. The Career Outcomes Report will be officially released during a presentation on Wednesday, March 6th in the Memorial Union Great Plains Ballroom.
Racist, con man, cheat. That's how Michael Cohen described his former boss, President Donald Trump. Cohen testified to Congress that the president has lied about business dealings and his personal life. But Republicans claim Cohen, a convicted felon, is the liar, who is being angry about passed over for a promotion. Omar Jimenez has highlights from the hearing on Capitol Hill.
Taking office, he has become the worst version of himself.
President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, blasting his former boss.
He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Cohen presenting a copy of a $35,000 check as evidence Trump directed hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
President of the United States thus wrote a personal check for the payment of hush money as part of a criminal scheme to violate campaign finance laws.
Cohen says then-candidate Trump also knew WikiLeaks would release emails damaging to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign.
Mr. Trump knew from Roger Stone in advance about the WikiLeaks drop of emails.
And Cohen claims Trump lied during the presidential campaign about his intentions to develop a Trump Tower in Russia.
He lied about it because he never expected to win.
Republicans say, as they have throughout the hearing, that Cohen isn't credible. The now disbarred lawyer pleaded guilty to tax crimes, campaign finance violations, and lying to Congress.
The first announced witness for the 116th Congress is a guy who is going to prison in 2 months for lying to Congress.
Cohen will go to prison in May for 3 years.
I made mistakes. I own them.
But as today's testimony proves, he's not going quietly.
I am not protecting Mr. Trump anymore.
As for President Trump, Wednesday morning he tweeted a rebuttal from Vietnam where he is meeting with Kim Jong-un, saying Michael Cohen is, quote, lying in order to reduce his prison time.
NDSU's Michelle Geislerova has been named to the Google Cloud Academic All-District Women's Basketball team. Geislerova is a sophomore from the Czech Republic, majoring in journalism with a 4.0 GPA. The award recognizes the nation's top student athletes for their combined performance both on the field and in the classroom. The academic All-American honorees will be announced in mid-March.
Minwei Zhu, an NDSU Serial Science graduate student, recently received an Honor Student Award from the American Oil Chemist Society. The AOCS presents this award to worthy graduate students studying lipid chemistry-related topics while encouraging them to join the society. Upon receiving the award, Zhu was invited to give a research-related lecture at the Society's annual meeting alongside other award winners. His presentation will be about different rates of activity in the chemical structure of types of pea seeds during germination. The meeting will take place in St. Louis this May. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at the weather outside. Right now it is currently 11 degrees, and there's a 20% chance of snow tonight, with temps dropping to 2 degrees by midnight. And taking a look at the 7-day forecast, Friday we're going to expect a high in the teens, 16 with a low of -4. Saturday it's going to get as cold as -18. Sunday will be a high of -2. Then we'll begin to warm up as the rest of the week moves in, getting as high as 17 degrees on Wednesday and Thursday.
Coming up, the NDSU Robotics Club is recognized nationally.
And how a student-run restaurant is teaching students about their health when we come back. This past Sunday, the women of the Delta sorority gathered together in the STEM building to do their annual Sincerely Yours event. This is an event they do every year to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is the sorority's main philanthropy. This is one of the many events they put on to raise money for St. Jude.
The President and Community Service Chair put it together, and all the members get over 40 friends and families' addresses each year. They then write letters to each of these people asking for donations to St. Jude. Last year, they raised over $26,000, and this year, they're expected to raise over $30,000. In late April, the NDSU Robotics VexU team will be competing against other schools from around the world in Louisville, Kentucky. The team began only a year ago, competing for the first time ever this February. The team has built 2 different robots for competition, one that picks up and launches plastic balls, and one that picks up and flips caps. In their February competition in St. Cloud, Minnesota, the team went undefeated and are hoping for a chance at Worlds. They have upgraded their robots since the last competition, adding new motors which have twice the power of the previous version.
I'm hoping we'll do good. We've been to Worlds a few times, and between the rest of the team, we've all had experience in VexU or in Vex EDR. We've all been to Worlds a few times, and Worlds is tough. So, especially when you go up against China and Texas, they are hard competition. So we're hoping we can do something against them.
On March 1st, the robotics team will show off their robots at Discover NDSU. They hope their accomplishments will bring in more members for future years. NDSU's computer science students are set to participate in the Cyber Fast Track program. Students will demonstrate their cybersecurity skills and compete for prizes through an online assessment tool and game. Programs like Cyber Fast Track give students the opportunity to learn and enhance their cybersecurity skills, as well as show them off to potential employers. Computer science students have been successful at other competitions, finishing 5th out of 300 teams in the Meter STEM cybersecurity competition last May. The NDSU Department of Health, Nutrition, and Exercise Sciences is beginning their annual 800 Cafe event. The 800 Cafe brings you healthful and delicious foods that are under 800 calories. The price for a meal plus a beverage is $10, or you can purchase the 4-meal punch cards for $35. The cafe opened earlier today and runs through May 2nd of 2019. Diners are welcome anytime between 11 a.m. and 12:15 p.m., while walk-ins are welcome if there is space. To make your reservations to the cafe, contact April Helgast via phone at 701-231-7487. Coming up, the winner of the 3-minute thesis competition, and how you can cure a sore throat from the cold when we come back. Last Thursday, the NDSU College of Graduate and Interdisciplinary Studies hosted its annual 3-minute thesis event in the Memorial Union. Students were tasked with presenting their research findings to the judges quickly and in layman's terms. After 57 initial contestants, it was biological sciences student Elizabeth Wilson who came away the winner. Her presentation was based around how bees are affected by the temperature of their nesting boxes. Wilson received $1,000 for her efforts and will advance to a regional competition in Tucson, Arizona. NDSU's Department of Modern Languages is encouraging students to explore French cinema by hosting a French film festival. The festival runs from February 5th through March 5th with screenings of 6 modern French films. Gabby Hirsch has more. This week, the French Film Festival rolls on at the Fargo Public Library with screenings of My Life as a Zucchini and Jaguar. The event is free and open to the public, and popcorn is provided. On Tuesday, festival goers watched the animated film My Life as a Zucchini, in which a young boy is sent to a foster home after losing his mother. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone calls the film animation as an art form.
I mean, it was just a really cute and well-done movie as well. So even if you're not thinking about more like in-depth film analysis, you'll still enjoy a good story.
Even if he eats all your food?
The French Film Festival is put on by NDSU's Department of Modern Languages, who received a Tourne's Film Festival Award from the FACE Foundation to present the films.
I think it's really important that people see that the French films are maybe not the films that we've seen, the old classics, which are wonderful, but that France has a really lively, active film organization in the country.
Hageman says that she hopes for people to see the similarities of the American and Francophone cultures. The final film screening will be on Tuesday, March 5th, with The Workshop.
It's just kind of fun to see films that we wouldn't normally get in a theater here. And yeah, I don't know, I just like to find different ways to get out of my shell and see new things.
The screening on March 5th will begin at 6:30 p.m. in the Community Center of the Fargo Public Library.
Last Friday night, Campus Attractions held its second grocery bag bingo event of the year in the Memorial Union. This time, students were eligible to win much more than just cereal and chips. The prizes given away included NDSU bookstore clothing items, assorted kitchen materials, and collections of popular movies and video games. There were typically 4 to 6 winners per round of bingo, providing plenty of opportunities to take home a prize.
Pretty good. It looks like the biggest prize up there. I just went for bigger the better, you know? So, yeah.
NDSU students will get one last opportunity this semester to attend a grocery bag bingo event currently scheduled for April 26th. Any information on upcoming Campus Attractions events can be found online at ndsu.edu/campusattractions.
What happens when you mix beloved Disney shows and movies with ice skating? Disney on Ice brings beloved kids' animated movies and shows to life as the characters skate around to some of Disney's most iconic songs. This time around, the show will feature scenes from Cars, The Little Mermaid, Toy Story, and Frozen. Disney on Ice will be at the Fargo Dome from March 7th to the 10th. There will be a total of 6 shows, with each one on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and then 3 shows on Saturday.
Sore throats are never pleasant. They're not only irritating, but can be a sign of a more severe health issue. Mary Maloney has some tips on seeking treatment and soothing the pain in today's Health Minute.
Most sore throats are usually triggered by the common cold or flu, but the cold, dry air can also be a factor. Experts say gargling with salt water can be an effective way to ease a sore throat, as salt dries moisture and can prevent bacteria from growing. Soothe your irritated throat by staying hydrated to thin mucus. Hot liquids such as tea and broth are good choices because the warmth soothes pain. Adding honey to your tea or other warm drinks may also help. Honey has known antimicrobial properties, which speed healing. Studies in children have shown that honey is better than popular over-the-counter cough suppressants. Keep the throat moist by sucking on a piece of hard candy or a medicated lozenge that can have a numbing effect. If your sore throat is severe, accompanied by a fever or swollen glands, you might have a bacterial infection and should see a doctor. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
After a short break, we'll have your sports update.
Isaac, what can we expect today?
Well, you can expect the Bison basketball team. They were in action last weekend. We'll have results for that, as well as the NDSU track and field team making history when we come back. Last Saturday, the NDSU men's basketball team had a chance to pull into a tie for third in the Summit League standings with a win against the Omaha Mavericks at the Shields Center. After the game's first 20 minutes, the Bison looked to be on their way toward achieving that goal, but how would they finish? Picking it up here in the second half, the Bison are up by 8 at the break. Jared Samuelson will knock down this corner 3 after some nice ball movement. He had 11 points total in this game. Later, he's going to get into the lanes, take a turn, step back, make this mid-range jump shot. Bison lead by 10 at this point, but the Mavericks chip away at the lead, and here's KJ Robinson off this great designed inbounds play. Omaha now has a 1-point lead, but the Bison would come back. Vinny Shaheed working on Robinson, takes a step back 3 and nails it. Bison back in a 2-point lead at this point in the second half, 5 minutes to go. Robinson drives into the lane, and Zach Jackson off great ball movement will knock down this 3. Omaha's back in front. He had a game-high 16 points in this one. Now we come down the stretch. Robinson feeds over for Mitch Hahn of Omaha, and he's going to rise up over Samuelson and knock down a dagger 3. The Bison again lose at home after leading by double digits.
Nothing to do with South Dakota State at all. We just did not play well tonight. Play with no effort. No energy, and that's on us.
And it's a learning experience for us. That being said, we've got to continue to grow, and that grow is playing with a little bit more spirit, a little bit more joy, a little bit more emotion. Some of the things that we had in the past, I didn't see that here this afternoon.
The Mavericks won by the final score of 58-50, a season low in points scored for the Bison, who only shot 26% from the floor in the second half. Vinny Shaheed led the way with 13 points and 5 rebounds for NDSU, who will play tonight in Vermilion, South Dakota against the Coyotes at 8 p.m. With only 2 conference games remaining for most teams in the Summit League, let's take a look at the standings about a week before the conference tournament. As it stands right now, South Dakota State just needs one victory to clinch the regular season conference title outright over Omaha. NDSU is currently sitting in 4th in the conference and cannot drop a spot, but can move up to 3rd if they win both of their remaining games and IPFW loses both of their remaining games. Spots 5 through 8 in the standings are still to be decided. The top 8 teams make the Summit League men's basketball tournament, which kicks off in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the Denny Sanford Premier Center on Saturday, March 9th. The Bison women's basketball team also took on Omaha last weekend at the Shields Center, looking to put their season-long 7-game losing streak and last weekend's 40-point home loss behind them. It was a tough shooting day for both teams, but NDSU held a 1-point lead at halftime. However, the Bison trailed by as much as 10 points in the 3rd quarter. NDSU would then go on a 13-0 run in the 4th to take a lead they would not relinquish. The Bison would make 17 out of their 21 free throws in the second half and score 29 points in the 4th quarter alone to propel them to victory. NDSU won by the final score of 55-48, led by Aurelia Newdell's 16 points and 6 rebounds. Sofia Zavalovic also chipped in with 13 points off the bench for the Bison, who are currently trailing the South Dakota Coyotes in the second half in Vermilion. Taking a look at the Summit League standings on the women's side as of this morning, South Dakota State currently owns the top spot and needs one victory to clinch the conference title outright. The South Dakota Coyotes had been nationally ranked for 2 consecutive weeks before falling to the Jackrabbits on Sunday and do not control their own destiny for the number 1 seed. As for NDSU, they appear to be participating in this year's conference tournament regardless of how their regular season ends, as they currently hold the 7th seed with 2 games remaining. The women's tournament will run parallel to the men's tournament, as it will be held on the same dates at the same venue in Sioux Falls. After a hard luck series in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, the NDSU softball team returned stateside last weekend for a set of games at the Auburn Tiger Invitational. The Bison won 3 out of the 5 games they played, and the only 2 losses were to the nationally ranked Auburn Tigers. Early standouts for the Herd at this point in the season include senior catcher Maddie Hansen, who leads the team with 4 home runs, and junior outfielder Madison Camacho, who has a team-leading .327 average. After last weekend's results, NDSU is now 7-6 on the season and will travel to the West Coast to play in the Stanford University Tournament beginning this Friday. Shifting gears to professional baseball, earlier today, one of the most sought-after free agents in Major League history finally has a new home. Bryce Harper will sign with the Philadelphia Phillies. The former Washington Nationals outfielder has agreed to sign a 13-year, $330 million contract, the richest in American pro sports history. The contract will not include any opt-out clauses and will include a no-trade clause, meaning Harper will be a Philly until 2031. Harper's deal, when signed, will break the American pro sports record previously held by current New York Yankees outfielder Giancarlo Stanton at $325 million. And finally, the NDSU men's and women's track and field teams each participated in the Summit League Indoor Championships in Brookings, South Dakota last weekend. The women's team came in winning 11 straight conference championships, and the men's team had won each of the last 3 indoor championships. When all was said and done, the Bison women convincingly took home the conference championship for the 12th straight year, winning by 68 points over second-place South Dakota State. Sophomore Kelby Anderson was named Most Outstanding Performer for NDSU for her efforts in the distance running events. If that wasn't impressive enough, however, though the men's team may not have won the championship, Peyton Otterdahl set the all-time record for the longest indoor shot put ever thrown by a college athlete. He broke the previous record by 3 inches and will compete at the NCAA Indoor Championships next weekend in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, basically, what Otterdahl's doing is he's taking a 16-pound sphere and throwing it 71.5 feet. That's what he just did. I can't even get half that, maybe on a good day.
Yeah, it's just impressive what he's been able to do. And if he doesn't at least make the Olympic trials for 2020, I think it's going to be pretty shameful.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Isaac. After the break, we'll have this week's Bison on the Street. Social media is a large part of everyone's lives, but that doesn't mean everyone likes it.
This week, Bison Information Network reporter Amber Kukla set out to find some of students' biggest social media pet peeves in this week's Bison on the Street.
Probably when people talk about their personal issues on social media, because not everybody cares.
My biggest social media pet peeves is when older people or people in general don't really have a filter when it comes to social media and don't really take into consideration other people.
My biggest social media pet peeve is when people on Instagram do the questions that say, ask me a question. Like, you're not a celebrity, I'm sorry, and it takes I don't want to see all about you.
I feel like one of my biggest social media pet peeves is when people just post recipes on Facebook.
because I don't actually learn anything new about them, and then I'm just left really hungry, so it's annoying.
My biggest social media pet peeve would be people who post the based on your birthday, this is who you're marry, or this is your best outfit, or this is what your name should be if you were in this movie.
My biggest social media pet peeve is when people are constantly complaining about every single thing and they can't appreciate anything in life. They're just constantly grumpy like the Grinch.
Hashtags.
But people use hashtags way too much.
Hashtag lit.
Hashtag, are hashtags even still a thing?
Hashtag college.
Hashtag stop hashtags.
I think my biggest social media pet peeve is probably the multi-level marketing schemes when people are trying to, like their whole feed is them trying to sell you something.
Yeah, mine's personally going to have to be someone who has an opinion on something they know nothing about. It's just really annoying.
Mine's got to be just when people overshare in general.
Yeah, well, that's going to do it for us.
Thanks for watching this week's Bison Information Network News.
Check us out on our social media and our YouTube channel.
Catch us back here next Thursday night. Have a great night, everyone.